To Anu's classroom. We are continuing on the course in MMPC 15, which is Research Methodology for Management Decisions, part of the third semester of IGNO MBA. In this video, we will be talking about the sampling as well as sampling designs, which is I believe unit 7. It's part of block number 2 of MMPC 15. So as is the few of the things that we'll be going over in this session will be on the advantages of sampling over census. So this is again a refresher only of your MMPC 5 from semester 1. So in case you are having trouble understanding whatever is being told in MMPC 15, I strongly suggest you go and revisit MMPC 5 once, okay, and then come back here, because most of the things are kind of like repetition from MMPC 5 itself. But here we are looking at it from the angle of research. There we were generally studying the concept, but over here we are looking at it from the angle of researching, because IGNO wants this subject to augment your MMPP1, that is your project course. Okay, so we'll be talking about why or what are the advantages that sampling could give us over census. What are the different types of sampling also, like simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, and other methods of sampling, probabilistic and non-probabilistic sampling methods, how we can design our samples, or in other words, sampling design, how we will design the process, or how we will choose which sampling to use while dealing with our research problems. And then we are also being introduced to a concept called as sampling frame. So all these things we will try to touch upon in this session also. So the first topic is sampling and sampling designs. So what is sampling? First of all, sampling means there is for any particular research topic, whatever we are taking, there will be a population, right? If you look at it from the what you can say, marketing perspective, the market, in that also we have targeted market and other right, things like that. Similarly, in any case, from any point of view you look at it, there is a particular population. Like if suppose say our research deals with something that is happening in India, then it is our our population will be the entire Indian population. We cannot do all, we cannot go and collect data from all Indians, right? If that is the case, then we call it as a census. But since we can't do that, what we will do, we will just select a few, maybe 100 people or 200 people, something like that, depending upon our confidence level and things like that, which we need for our report. We will select those many samples. So that is a word here, samples. Okay, just like you go to any supermarket, there will be counters wherein you will get samples, free samples, right? Same concept. Okay, so sampling indicates the selection of a part of or of a group or an aggregate with a view of obtaining information about the whole population. So you get the sample from the sample counter. Maybe if it is a candy, you get a candy sample and you eat it. If you like it, what will you feel? Sample is this good, so maybe the actual product is also good. So when you go into the supermarket, if you like the sample, you might even get a packet of it, right? So the selected part, which is used as a certain characteristic of the population, is used to ascertain. Okay, sorry, there is a typo here, there is a space in between. It is used to ascertain the characteristics of a population is called a sample, and the total number of all the members of the population and the number included in the sample are called population size and sample size. Okay, so the entire population is the population size, and the number of samples we take is called the sample size. So what are the advantages of sampling over census? We said, right, sampling is just selecting a few people or a bunch of people, whereas census is you are doing the research for the entire population. Then it becomes census. So given that sampling will definitely be more convenient for researchers, right? If suppose say if India is our population, definitely doing the same questionnaire, researching with the same questionnaire for in the entire Indian subcontinent for your research, for your project, is it going to be feasible for you? No, you might not even feel it as feasible if you have to go to your entire district and collect data, right? What will you do? You will share a link, you will share the Google form to your close, near and dear ones, and maybe even ask them to share across also, right? And you will get the data. That is how you do. So the census or the complete enumeration will consist of collecting data from each and every unit of the population, and sampling will only choose a part of the units from the population for the exact same study also. So what happens with census versus sampling is that, definitely think about it, sampling is definitely less expensive. It will take less time, and there will be chances of error also. So sampling is indispensable if enumeration becomes destructive. Okay. So given that sampling is more convenient for most researchers, how will we go about performing the sampling? That is the important part here. How will we perform sampling if sampling is so convenient? So I hope you remember, you must have studied, you should have studied concepts like simple random sampling, clustered sampling, all those things. Yes. So the next session, sorry, not next session, the remaining part of this video, we will be talking about those various sampling techniques. Okay, so the first thing that we'll talk about is simple random sampling. In case you guys don't remember, I will just give you a brief about it. Let's say, I hope all of you have at least once in your life played the game bingo, right? Or not, if you haven't played bingo, no problem. You must have at least participated in a raffle draw, or you might have at least once taken a lottery ticket, right? So how do these things work? Let us take the example of a raffle draw. Okay, so I'll tell you my example itself. So there is a supermarket near my house, and if you go and purchase over there, for every 500 rupees, right, they'll give you a coupon. Okay, so what we do is we generally write down our names. Since it's me, I'll write down my name, my kid's name, like that. We will write it down and I will put it in the box. So I hope at least this time, every time I put some one coupon in the box, I think at least this time maybe I will win something. Okay, so now also I have put a lot of coupons. You guys pray for me. At least some gift I should win. You please pray. Okay. Anyways, so as I was saying, every one of those coupons are assumed to have an equal probability of winning. Okay. It is like anybody could win. Any coupon could win, right? If there are 10,000 coupons, so the probability of drawing any coupon is 1 by 10,000, right? 1 in 10,000. So simple random sampling is this only. Okay, it assigns an equal probability to each unit of the population. Simple random sampling itself, we can do it in two different ways. Okay, one way is with replacement and the other is without replacement. So generally, what the most real life situations of simple random sampling, say bingo is, I think, with replacement. Anyway, this raffle draw or lottery ticket and all that we say is using without replacement. Sorry, without replacement, and there are cases with replacement as well. So what is this simple random sampling with replacement and without replacement? Let us take the example of our raffle draw itself. Okay, usually what happens is whoever is coming to draw and announce the winners, they will draw one coupon and they will declare the prize that this particular coupon, say 789, was drawn, it has got first prize. Then what will they do? They will discard that coupon. They will not put it back, right, in the box. They will discard that coupon. Now what will happen? So suppose, say there were 10,000 coupons in there to start with. Now one coupon is gone. Now every coupon's probability to get drawn in the next draw will slightly increase to 1 out of 9999, correct? So when they draw for the second prize, one thing is for sure, we cannot predict which coupon came, but one thing is sure, it will not be the first coupon which was drawn, right? Because that is no longer in there. So this is without replacement sampling. Now think about a hypothetical case wherein after drawing this coupon, instead of discarding it, they put it back again. So the second time they draw, again this coupon which got drawn in the first time, again stands a chance of being drawn again, right? If being drawn again is not 0, the probability, it is again 1 in 1000. So that is a simple random sampling with replacement. I hope you got the concept. I hope I didn't mess it up for you guys. So what is sampling frame? Okay, that is one topic that we have to know about by the end of this session. So in statistics, a sampling frame is actually the source material or the device from which a sample is drawn. Okay, it is the list of all those within a population who can be sampled and may include say individuals, households or institutions. Okay, so there are various different types of sampling frames. Okay, and it is one important thing is how we can prepare the sampling frame also. So the frame, when we prepare, it should always be made up to date and be free from any errors of omission or duplication and all of sampling units. We could have perfect frames, incomplete frames, inaccurate frames, inadequate frames or even out of date frames. but we should always hope to achieve perfect frames. Then coming to the next type of sampling, that is stratified sampling. Okay, here what we do is we stratify, or in other words we can say we will split our entire population on the basis of something like age, caste, education, height, etc., depending upon what research we are conducting, and then we will group them. So here what happens is each group need not have the same number of samples, correct? So you take for example in your school, in your class itself, if you are stratifying on the basis of gender, is it necessary that every class have equal number of boys and girls? It is not necessary, it is not mandatory. Similarly, you stratify, if you are stratifying them on the basis of their birthday month, okay, do you think everybody will be, there are only 12 months, right? Even if there are only 12 kids in the classroom, do you think every month will have one kid's birthday? No, correct? So that is the thing with stratified sampling. Every strata, every group may not have the same number of samples. And moreover, if say our research was on the feasibility of let's say starting a clothing store, okay, for women, and if we do a simple random sampling, what will happen? Since every person in the classroom or in that district have the equal probability of choosing, okay, and therefore what if you by some means say it is some lottery or something like that, you are drawing you have let's say for example, you have a unique ID for every person. You are just randomly drawing ID numbers. What if all the random, out of say 100 samples you drew, 90 people were male, only 10 people got female? It is possible, correct? So, but there is a population of 1000 in which there were only 100 males and 900 were females. But when you drew the sample, you got 90 males, okay, and only 10 females. You will end up thinking what? Okay, this is not a great place to start a women's clothing store. Why? Because my sample I got 90 men and only 10 women I got. But actually the population is quite different. Okay, this is an example where if you simply do simple random sampling, you might get an entirely skewed and entirely wrong idea about the population. So what we will do in these cases is we will stratify. Say we can stratify on the basis of gender. So what we'll get a male strata with 100 men and a female strata with 900 women, assuming there were 1000 people, correct? So, and then what we will do, say we will think that we will sample 5% of the people from each strata. So then we will take 5 people from the men's sample and 45 people from the women's sample. So inside these stratas, we can apply simple random sampling, no issues. But the stratas will not be joined together. So now when we do the sampling, we will get a much better idea about the feasibility of our business. Correct? So that is, so these are the cases where we will have to go for stratified random sampling instead of simple random sampling. So again, in stratified random sampling also we have two methods. We can have a proportional allocation or an optimal allocation. I'm sorry. So when do we go for stratified random sampling? Again, when there is a considerable heterogeneity that is present in the population with regard to the subject matter under study. Okay. So that is about stratified random sampling. Now, a few other methods of sampling include, say, our cluster sampling, in which sampling is done on a collection or a cluster of sampling units which are selected in a random manner. Okay. So suppose say you are stratifying or you are clustering based on the what you can say based on the caste. Okay. So suppose there are many different castes, and in your you have grouped people on the basis of different castes. So there are so many subgroups. Now you will randomly select any one caste, and whoever is there in the caste, you will what you can say, you will take all of them and do your research. Okay, perform your questionnaires or interviews or whatever. Nobody from that particular caste is going to get missed out. But out of say maybe there are 50 castes that you identified in your population, you will not do this process for all 50 castes. Maybe you will do for only 5 of them. But whichever caste you are choosing, you will apply your research on all the people of that particular caste. Okay, so that is cluster sampling. Systematic sampling is again another probability sampling method where researchers will select members of the population at a regular interval, like every 5th person. That is systematic sampling. And multi-stage sampling is taking of samples in stages using smaller and smaller sampling units at each stage. Okay. So how do we go about sampling design? What is sampling design first of all? A sampling design is a definite plan for obtaining a sample from a given population. So it refers to the technique or the procedure the business researchers will have to adopt to select units for that sample. Okay, sampling design is determined well before data is collected, and some of the points to be considered while we are going for the sampling design are: first and foremost, what is the type of our population, what is going to be our sampling unit, what is going to be the type of the sample that we are doing, whether it is simple random sampling or cluster sampling, whatever, and what could be or what should be our samples size also we have to consider. Another type of sampling. So all this while we were dealing with probabilistic sampling methods. Okay. Now we also have to talk about the various non-probability sampling methods. Non-probability sampling method is that sampling procedure which does not provide any basis for estimating the probability that each item in the population could possess to be included in the sample. Like in our raffle draw, we said every coupon, if there are 10 coupons in the box, every coupon will have 1 by 10 probability that it will get drawn. But over here in these kind of sampling methods, we cannot assign such a probability at all. So in general, there are actually three types of non-probability sampling. One is the convenience sampling, which is a process of selecting a sample based on our convenience. Okay, so it could be like, yeah, you were going to go to some place to collect samples, but on the way you felt that on the way something happened, your bus broke down or something, and you were stranded at one particular place. So out of convenience, you started interviewing the people over there. By the time the issue was resolved or the bus got fixed, you might have got all the data you need. So instead of continuing your journey, you will come back. Okay, so nobody could assign what is the probability that a person over there where the bus broke down could be a sample for your data, right? And not the person in the intended destination. Nobody could assign a probability there. Correct. So that is convenience sampling. Another type of sampling, non-probability sampling, is judgment sampling, which is a procedure where the sample is selected through a judgment or expertise in the field. And we have quota sampling, which is a procedure where the sample is selected according to a number of key characteristics which are specific to the samples. So that is the three types of main types of non-probability sampling methods. So that is a general idea about the various sampling designs and sampling procedures that we could use for our research methodologies or our research process. I hope this session was useful to you in understanding about the sampling and the sampling designs. I know I haven't gone very much in depth into any of these concepts because these are not new per se. These are all what we have already learned even in our first semester. That is why I'm intending these sessions to be a quick recap to just refresh your mind on what was already learned in the first semesters. Okay, I hope these are useful to you and it is serving the purpose of refreshing your memory in that regard. Thank you so much for choosing Anu's Classroom as your study partner. Until I see you in the next session, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.